So we've talked about Upalin Pachna, we've talked about Utinon Ndlovu, but the person that we have not really touched on much, I guess it also has to do with the fact that nothing has been said, like not a lot has been said about him, is Amanuel Gebremichael. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing his name right or not, but look at what happened with Caleb. I was struggling to say his name, but eventually signed with Chiefs. So maybe that's a good sign. Anyways, I saw an article about this guy, Amanuel Gebremichael, last week, and I didn't have time to look at it, to be honest. So I just thought, I'm gonna revisit it next week. So I wrote his name down. So it turns out he's actually not a striker, but what he is, he's a right winger, and it seems like a good one too. I have not watched him play. I've made my point clear in watching YouTube videos for how good a player is because I find them deceptive. But here's the thing. Looking at his career, he's only 23 right now, and yet he started playing for his national team at 18. 18, you understand? If you're an African player and you start playing for your national team at that young age, it means something about you. You get me? Because we are so big as Africans in this thing. You go to, hey, wingane, you have not reached the right level. Omba bawena ma World Cup being a teenager. Like the team, the German team that ended up winning the World Cup in 2014, beating Umes, yafika la eSouth Africa. Well, yafika eSouth Africa ngo-2010 kwafika ingane obhala kubabelimele, then kwafika Ozil nabo bonke nje labantu ababeseyingane kwathiwa nazi ingane ze-Germany, and then bagcine bephumile. But because they started playing early in their career together as a team, they ended up reaching World Cup somewhere kuma-semi-final ngo-2010. I'm disappointed because I don't remember where they finished, but they played and advanced well in the competition, and then in the competition that followed, they then won the tournament, which is to say, I don't like this thing yokuthi njalo when a player is young and they are doing well, we always try and limit them and push them aside and say, ingane lena. And I know ukuthi there's someone who's ready and waiting to say, Impilo, but you can't compare us to Europe because in Europe they start playing football from an early age. But even now, I can show you the Kaizer Chiefs players who have been in development for the longest time, but we are still saying ingane lezi ayihlale ebhenchini. Kuze kube nini? Beze bebe na 25. When they are 25, then they start playing and sebe rusty. Kade bagcina ukudlala, and then bese kuthiwa development players abasile. I'm just putting this kind of rant because iyangicasula lento ukuthi we always associate ukuthi if umuntu emncane they are not good enough. So ke uGebremichael uAmanuel lo started playing for his national team at 18, and when in these past qualifiers, ama World Cup qualifiers, he was also playing. I think he also scored, against Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, and against Cameroon as well. So he is good. He has experience as well, and that tells a lot about him. Nagui AFCON, he also played. Now, I know Guti Chiefs right now, we are not looking for a winger, and I know Guti Chiefs is also just mainly trying to focus on a striker, but he does play mainly as a right winger, but he also plays as a center forward striker or a left winger, which means he comes with an advantage if the Chiefs really do pursue him. The first advantage is that if he comes in, he brings in a depth on that right wing, because we've seen ukuthi mabedlalisa uSekhota on the left, kwa right badlalisa uDupree. And I don't like it when Sekhota and Dupree play at the same time. I've said it before, because I feel like at some point, yes, Dupree is more of, he tries to attack the box by moving and running into the space, and then Sekhota will try to dribble past the defender and play him across into the box. But essentially, Dupree tries to do that at times, just that Sekhota is better at it. The point is, both of them are like pacey players who can attack space well, who can try to dribble past defenses. So into engenziwa ukuthi bona they can fight for the same position kuba ama like for like substitutions. Sibonile this past weekend ukuthi I think uSekhota came off and then uDupree came on. Kwaba ukushisa nje kwasuka because it was a like for like change, and it defender selidile with one pacey player and another pacey player comes in sekuyinkinga. Then that leaves a problem kwa right ukuthi if we do that with Ashley no Sekhota, then you have a problem yokuthi then uDoli will not have a competition. And we've discussed this in length ukuthi it's not a good thing for any player at all to not have a competition, because they then feel like they're entitled to that position badlala umbozo because they don't think they should perform because, well, scheme esak. I'm not saying that's what Utoli is doing, but I'm just saying with any other player who doesn't have competition tends to bataza but bataza if they know good they don't have competition. But bringing in this guy will also give us the depth in that side ukuthi sekuzoba nomdlali or extra on that position, and who's good enough, because we don't want to sign players just for the sake of signing them. Ukuthi we want to populate our team with so many players, yet if uDole ngekho there is no like for like change ozomngenela espacing sakhe, if you get what I'm saying. So that's the first advantage. He brings a depth. Angeke mention nendaba ye-age ukuthi he is young, and the project, well, I will mention because sengizengaqala. He's young, a project here to its project, we are rebuilding. And if we are rebuilding and you have another 23-year-old being added into the squad, then you have a good team. You are building with a good squad with good enough players, and nje overall team yakho izoqala ijele bakhule ndawonye. Another thing about him is the fact that from 18 started playing for his national team. He's good enough, we've established that. But the second thing is that having played having played AFCON, having played World Cup qualifiers, that means he's used to playing AMA games, high pressure situation games, which also means he will be able to help Chiefs massively when we play in these continental games, basically, because he knows ukuthi there's pressure, but he knows how to handle it as well. And from that young age, it means mawusukhula usukule age akuyo njengamanje kuzomsiza ukuthi use used to that kind of pressure. And another reason is that he's versatile, right? So if he can play as a right winger, as a striker as well, why not? If a player can play 3 positions, then we know if we move him from the right winger, playing him as a striker, then we're not necessarily playing him out of position now, are we? No, we are not, but we're playing him in one of the positions that he can play without actually sacrificing equality or doing away with his abilities. That's just what I think. And I think vele Chiefs, if kuna strikers kanje is available, we should try and have a conversation of signing this player, because I mean we need a striker. And ukuthembela koDino Ndlovu, we've discussed this thing ukuthi in South African football he hasn't really like shown SHONE. Uvela fike nje kube mafirifiri nje anyamalale and then abuyele phesheya, but la eMzansi ngathi akumvumi. And there are players like that ukuthi they can be good quality elsewhere and then come to another team, they just don't perform, or go to a certain environment and they don't perform. Good example is Eden Hazard, wasuka kuChelsea, umdlali fika le ku Real Madrid akasabuza umuntu gain weight uselimala njalo. So vele uDino Ndlovu is one of those players abalimala njalo manje. And so if there is this option, it's good for Chiefs, they should go for it. And another thing that I did not mention is the fact that if he's really that good, Gebremichael, I don't think I'm mentioning this after the things that I've written down, because I don't think it's something that we should like be buying a player thinking about. But at 23, if he comes in and he gives us 2.5 good seasons, and then someone wants to come in and buy him, that means we'll make a lot of money from him, and then we'll be able to reinvest the money as well. Now, guys, let's do some what's this thing? Appreciation for a moment. I appreciate you guys a lot. It took this channel 6 months to grow from zero, nothing, nada, to 5,000 subscribers, and that's because of you guys commenting, subscribing, and liking. Now, I checked my analytics and I found that 70% of you are still not subscribed. Chiefs is the biggest team in South Africa, and it's because of a fan base, NJ Ngani, that the team is like this big. And we can make the same thing with this channel. We can make it big, can make it really big. Watch the video, share it with your friends, because obviously the people that you associate with also love the Chiefs. Let's share the video with other people wherever we can share it. There's this number down below. You can contact me, Mofunugubagma podcast, and then let's start talking, guys. I'm not an expert in football. I'm just a football fan. And now what I do have is a platform for people to come in and express themselves about the Chiefs. All I do ask for is that we just talk respectfully, and that's all we do. Agukho that difficult, and whether you agree or disagree with me, the point is we can get to sit down and have conversations about the club that we love so much. So I'm all for it. So contacting me on the number below, ungakuthusi +62, it's an Indonesian number because I'm currently in Indonesia. So WhatsAppeni siplaneni ukurecord ama-podcast for this weekend ukuze ngizowaposta next week, because abantu, I saw good responses from the 2 podcasts that I've posted. So yeah, guys, yenzani njalo. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and until next time, remember, ikhosi alipheli umoya.